I will be presenting on amplifying student voice and creativity in the world language classroom. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Heidi Trude, and I'm a French teacher in Virginia at Loudoun Valley High School. I am the 2018 School Teacher of the Year and the 2019 GWATFL Teacher of the Year finalist. For those of you who would like to access this presentation, I would invite you to copy down the following bit.ly link, and you may have access to all the materials that I share in this presentation. So again, the link is bit.ly NFLC and my last name Trude. So bit.ly NFLC Trude. I would invite those of you following along to also copy down my contact information in case you would like to follow up with me following this presentation. You can find my email, techietrude@gmail.com, my Twitter handle, htrude07, and my website, techwithtrude, listed on the screen. From this point forward, I'm going to actually turn off my camera so you can see full screen and so that it doesn't interfere with the presentation. So moving on, what are our objectives for today? Today's objectives is we will look to explain what student voice and creativity looks like in the classroom. We'll work on focusing how we can design activities to promote student voice in the world language classroom. We'll also focus on designing activities to promote creativity in the classroom, and I will provide you all with opportunities to share your own ideas for promoting student voice and creativity in the world language classroom. So let's first look at student voice in the world language classroom and what exactly is student voice. Before we begin, I'd like you to take a moment and reflect on the following question. What does student voice mean to you, and how do you promote it in your classroom? So take a minute, pause the recording, and reflect here on this Padlet, sharing what does student voice mean to you, and how do you promote it in your classroom? And remember, there are no wrong answers here. Just share your thoughts, and we'll use this as a point of discussion. Student voice is a very important topic that we all deal with in world languages. And it's something not just the language field deals with. It's actually something that should be happening in every classroom every day. So teachers should be hearing from every student, and that should be a part of our daily routine, whether we're teaching face-to-face, whether we're teaching hybrid models, or whether we're teaching remotely online. So how can we accomplish this in our language classrooms? One of the ways that I like to accomplish teaching and hearing from students every day is using Flipgrid. So if you're new to Flipgrid, I would encourage you to use the link that is on the screen, signup.flipgrid.com from/Heidi4642, and that will take you straight to Flipgrid so you can create your free account and you can start using this amazing tool with your students today. But I'm just going to jump into my account after this, and we're going to look at how I use Flipgrid to leverage student voice on a daily basis. For those of you who are new to Flipgrid, or for those of you who want to just play around with it from the student side, you have a QR code right here that you can scan, or you can click the link and you'll be able to access Flipgrid and see what it actually looks like. So how does it work? Let's take a look. So I'm going to talk about some projects and assessments that I use in my classroom, and we're just going to jump right out of the presentation. And we're going to hop right over to Flipgrid right now. And as you can see, I've already logged in. And this is what your homepage would look like. You have your grids, which are your classes for your community. If you're new, definitely check out the Getting Started guide. But you can see here, I have a variety of classes. I have over 30. I never get rid of mine. I've also made one that I can show you things and use for training, which is right there. But I have them for all my levels. One that I'm going to point out right now is the 2020 Manie Musicale, so March Music Madness, and this was actually a global grid. So students from across the world were participating in this, sharing their experiences related to songs in a part of our March Manie Musicale. So in here, they were greeting themselves. They discussed the song artist, their favorite songs, their favorite video clips. They talked about what song they think is going to win. And then they created very amusing and entertaining dance videos where they were singing the songs and dancing in TikTok style. So very fun, very creative ways to share student voice and promote culture at the same time. Other ones, I have a partnership I use with our middle school and with my students, so a way to build my program and get the students talking and communicating with each other. I also have a partnership with a school in France, the Lycée Bazin, and in this grid, wherever it is, I just have to find it because I have so many grids, there it is this one we have all kinds of topics here. So we talk about cultural topics. We have students sharing, probably our favorite one we have is this one, which is Ma Ville. And this one actually won a competition in Flipgrid where my students created a Google map, so Google My Maps. Then we did a screencast of their video using Screencastify, and then they shared on Flipgrid. And they shared the videos to create these amazing town tours that produced amazing results where my students were sharing those videos of their towns. The students in France are replying to them. And then we carried the conversation even further during a Google Hangout, sharing those cultural comparisons. So that's one option. Other ways you can use Flipgrid a little more creatively. A colleague and I, Zach Bracken, created what we called Mystery Skype, but we did it with Flipgrid. So we did Le Flipgrid Mystérieux. This time, we asked our students to pose yes or no questions to each other in the target language, of course, trying to figure out where the other students lived. So they might ask a question, for example, in English. Do you live east of the Mississippi River? Or is there a professional sports team in your town? Is there a national monument in your town? Are there mountains in your town, etc.? You all get the point. So simple yes or no questions in the target language. And then the students replied back and forth to each other with their answers and then asking an additional question until they can figure out where the other students live. Just a tip, if you want to do this activity, remind your students not to wear clothing that would give away their location. So probably don't wear a school shirt, something that identifies where they're from, because the kids might try and Google and figure it out that way. So just word of caution there, just tell them be mindful of that. You don't want to ruin the game. Other things, if you're looking for ideas, you could also go to GridPals, which GridPals is a cool way that you can connect your classroom with another classroom across the world. So if you're looking for speakers anywhere in the world, you can do that. So I'm just going to let it populate. Maybe we want to go look over here. Maybe I'm a Spanish teacher. Well, look at all those dots filling in there in Spain. If I'm in France, Germany, etc., you can find speakers just about anywhere, and all you do is you just click on their dot. There we go. Try that again. I clicked too fast. I'm sorry. And now I have Ellen, who teaches middle school and high school students language arts and ESL. And if I wanted to connect with her, I could reach out on Twitter. I could reach her through her Instagram, or I could email her an invitation, and now my students and her students could connect through Flipgrid and create a partnership and varied projects. So this is an awesome way to bring culture into the classroom. Other sources of inspiration come from the Disco library. And one way I describe this, it's like going on here and just searching for topics. It's similar to Teachers Pay Teachers, except this is completely free. Teachers share their topics, and you can easily copy these and put them into your own classroom. So you can search them by subject, by audience, by topic, and then you can just add it to your classroom, modify it for your students, and you have a set discussion topic ready. So this is just a brief overview of Flipgrid, but there's so much you can do with it and so much creativity you can use there. So we're going to hop back into my presentation. There we go. And before we move on, I'd like you guys to take a moment and reflect again. And this time just think, what are some ideas you now have of how you could use Flipgrid in your classroom to promote student voice? So I'd ask that you please pause the recording and share a few ideas here on the Padlet. So for those of you who haven't used a Padlet, you simply click the link, click the plus, and you can type a response. Now, moving on to creativity in the world language classroom. So this is an area where we want to move beyond just having the students use the language, but really having them generate and create with the language, showing us what they can do, whether they're speaking, whether it's in writing, etc. So giving them those outlets that they can really show us what they know. So again, just like we've been doing, I would ask that you each take a moment and pause and ponder this question. How do you allow for creativity in the classroom? Do you use any tech tools to promote creativity? And again, like we've been doing, click the link, pause the recording, and share out some thoughts on the Padlet. And I'll look forward to communicating with you guys and interacting with you all in the Padlet. So if you can take a moment and do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Creativity is, oh my gosh, something that is so important in our classrooms. For 21st century learning, we want our students to be creators, collaborators, communicators, and critical thinkers. So we need to go and look at that in our language classroom and think to ourselves, what am I doing to provide my students with creative outlets? What kind of projects could I use? What kind of tools could I incorporate that allow for creativity? So that's what we're going to be looking at here. We're going to be looking at a few tools for creativity, and some of these are free, have free versions, others are completely free. So we're going to look at these 3 tools and how they work and how you can use these in the language classroom. So the first tool that I want to share with you all is Padlet, and we have actually been using this throughout our presentation today. I've been asking you all to use Padlet to share out your answers, and as you've been seeing, it's like a digital wall. Or I like to relate it to back when I was in college, it was like your memo board, your cork board that you had on your dorm room wall where you stuck all your sticky notes, your pictures, etc. You had them all in one place. Well, Padlet's the digital version of that cork board. So you're going to have all your students' responses in one place. Nice thing is, they don't just write it for you. The students can use text, they can use pictures, they can use videos, they can add attachments, so they could link it to a Google Doc, they could link it to a book creator that they've created, an Adobe Spark creation, something in Canva. They can link it to pretty much anything that they can create a link for, it can connect there. In addition, they can record a quick video in Padlet. They can record audio for you. They can draw their answer out in the picture. So there's so many ways that they can get creative. And I'll show you some examples very quickly. So we have the one that I created for us, which of course doesn't have any answers yet. But if I go back to my Padlet homepage, I'm going to go to this one. So this is just a really cool Padlet here that my colleague and I are collaborating on. So just sharing some awesome tips, resources, and tools that we used in FLAVA, our Foreign Language Association of Virginia, that we have created. So you can see all kinds of tools you could be using of how you use these tools and resources in your classroom. And you can see people are putting websites. Some people are just putting text. There's the link to their website. Again, you can just go through, you can have video links, etc. Some are just showing you links, but this is a great way to keep yourself organized, great way to have prompts shared with your students. So there's lots of options for using Padlet in your classroom. It's just a matter of coming up with that tool or that idea that you want your students to use. And just as a reminder, remember, it's the pedagogy that comes first, the technology comes second. So you need to think, what is that lesson plan going to be? What is that good, solid lesson that you want to create? And then think, what tool could you use to help meet that goal? So I just wanted to make sure we all were clear on that point. So we're going to jump back into full screen. All right, so Padlet's one tool. Another tool, and this is one my students really enjoy and I really enjoy as well, is a book creator. Okay, so book creator, and for those of you who are not familiar with it, this might become your new favorite tool. So book creator is an online tool to create and publish books and comics. Okay, it does allow you to write and speak in the target language, which is really awesome. There is a free version and there are paid versions. Okay. It does allow the students to record within the program, so they can record their actual voice reading their own stories that they've created. So that really takes the story up a notch and brings it to life even more. And they also can embed a variety of apps into their books. So they could take a video they created in Flipgrid. They could put that in their book. They could put in Snapchat recordings in their books. They can put in Google Maps in their books. They can use their own pictures that they take from their phones, their own drawings if they have drawing apps that they'd want to use. So it really gives them a lot of choice there. And again, I've made you a spot, I apologize, where you can try it out on your own, but I'll just go into mine and let you see how it works. All right, so I'm just going to go to my library. There we go. And we're just going to take a look at some of these just so you can get some ideas of what you could do with this. So this one's a really cool one. So we're just going to play through this book. So this is one I give my students the option when we read the Le Petit Prince, where they can actually create, as one of their final projects, they can create their own storybook. So their own alternate ending. So this student designed all of this through Flipgrid, putting in the illustrations. Some of these she drew on herself. Some of them she used the tools within the program. And then she typed in her text. This time I didn't ask them to record audio, but they can use that. The nice thing with this, I could either choose to read it again. If I click up here, I can then either download this book as an ebook. I can also print it as well. So I could add the books my students create to my classroom library. So that's a really cool option with those. Other options you can do with these is you can, as I said, you can do the audio recordings with them, which is really, really awesome. Excuse me. So that's a cool option. You can set them up as comic books. And so if we go back in this one again is set up in a comic book style. So we'll just play this one. So again, they're describing what happened and drawing it out, explaining the story with a little bit of text. And again, explaining some more. But basically, through it, you see what happens in picture form. So that's another example. And again, they can do audio. So if it has the little speaker sign, then you know you can hear their books as well. So that's a really cool option with Book Creator. And again, you can use the link at the bottom to try it out. So again, just to recap what it looks like, there's your sign-in page. And here are some of my library books. Very simple for the students to use as they're just picking their shape. And then they start designing. They can import their own media. They can use the cameras. They can import files, use the camera. They can draw with the pen, add text, and record. And there's just an example of what a student page would look like. So that's Book Creator. So great tool for creativity. And the last tool I want to highlight to you is actually 3 tools in one. And another benefit of this one, it is completely free. So this is Adobe Spark. And it's one of my favorites, one of my students' favorites as well. So with Adobe Spark, we have 3 components here. We have Adobe Spark Pages, which I want you all to think of Pages as to be similar to an online magazine or newsletter. It allows you to incorporate text, images, and videos. So you could have the students make a newspaper in the target language. For this project, I had my students making a magazine article about a Francophone athlete. They loved it. So they could put in the text, they found images, and they even found video interviews of their chosen athlete, and they put them all together and then shared them out with the class with the link. Post is another option you can use. Post lets you incorporate text and images. It's like making an infographic or making a poster that you would share on a social media page. You could make posters for class events, etc. Very, very user-friendly. Doesn't involve a lot of graphic design skill at all. And then my favorite one to use, my favorite of all time, is the video feature. So with video, that's going to incorporate text, images, video clips, so you can put in short little video snippets, as well as music, and we use it for digital storytelling. So what this looks like, and again, you would just go to spark.adobe.com, but I'm hopefully going to be able to show you all this example. So this is a French project that one of my students created. And hopefully you will be able to hear it. If not, you'll be able to click on the audio. And this is the student's own voice. He added the text, he added the music through Adobe Spark, and the images. Okay, I'm going to pause that. So you get the idea. So he basically, in this example, he found all the pictures that he wanted to use to tell his story. For those of you who aren't French speakers, the prompt was, it was a dark and stormy night. He found the pictures, he put in his story, he recorded it using his own voice. He's a theater person, so he got a little dramatic with it. And then Spark puts it all together. And he did the recording right in Spark. It's so easy to use and very, very simple. So I'm actually going to guide you all through that. There's a couple more examples there for you to look at. But this is what it looks like on your home page. So you have your projects listed and they'll tell you, is it videos, is it a post, etc. It shows them all there. And then you can go back and edit at any time. But if you are making a video, this is what it would look like. So you would have your page here where you can add in. So hitting the plus button would let you add in a picture, more text, etc. Deciding on your layout, full screen, split screen, caption, title, and text. You pick your themes, that's like your background, what it's going to look like. If you need to resize any images, you can use the resize button, or you want to change your shape from the regular size to a square, you have that option. And then you can pick your music, and everything in there, they have a gallery of music. It's amazing, and it's all copyright free. They also have images that you can put in, again, not having to worry about copyright issues, which is great for our students and really teaches them digital citizenship. And to record, you simply hit the red button to record. And then this is what it would look like if it were playing. So there I've inserted a picture so I can preview it and check it before I'm done. When it's where I want it to be, I would simply hit my download button, and that would download my video as an MP4 file, or I could share it and it gives me a shareable link. What I do with my students is I ask them to download them now, and then we upload them into Flipgrid. That way everybody can watch each other's videos and comment on them. So it makes it a more interactive process for my students. So that's just my suggestion there, is opting for the download instead of the share button. So that is a little overview just of Adobe Spark. And I could talk about it for hours and go into more detail, but I just wanted to give you all a basic overview of that, of those tools. So we've looked at, just to recap, we've looked at Adobe Spark, we've looked at Book Creator, and we've looked at Padlet as creativity tools. So now, seeing those tools, what I'd like you all to do and reflect on is, what tools will you use to promote creativity, and what project ideas do you now have? So I'd like you to take a moment or two, pause the recording, and share and discuss your ideas here on our Padlet. So I'll take us there just so you can see that. So again, what tools will you use to promote creativity, and what project ideas do you have? And again, remember, you're just hitting the plus sign, and then you'll be able to write your post. So just take a minute and reflect on that question as I come back to our presentation. So now I would like to open this up to any questions that you all may have. And I know we're doing this in a virtual format. So remember, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me and I will share my contact information with you all. So if you have questions that you would like me to answer, I am more than happy to work with all of you.